the world.
Hello, Governor.
What's up, man?
You, bro.
I'm up and I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah, you back in the house, ready to rock. I love it.
Are you ready to rock?
Yeah. We got to figure out a way to get some type of auto tune on this mug.
That would be. That was funny.
I just want to do all auto tune now.
What was it? There was that thing. Yeah, that was hilarious.
I showed you that dude. What is that dude's name? I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm gonna have to Google him.
Yeah, and it was just like auto tuning everything, and it sounded like a song.
Yeah, he's hilarious. Now you jam me up. I'm gonna have to find him. But anyway, man, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, bro. It's brisk like the tea across the entire U.S. right now, and everybody's feeling the snap.
Snap, crackle, and pop, bro. Yes. In a major way. It's snowing in Florida.
I know. Louisiana dumped snow.
Louisiana. Come on now.
Right? That poor state.
Remember, I told you it was coming. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I told you. I was like, be careful. It's coming. I don't really want to see it. And it just started at the beginning of the new year. It's already enough going on with people. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Bop Karaoke. Looking for a new way to turn up the fun? Try Bop Karaoke, the most entertaining karaoke gaming app. With Bop Karaoke, you're not just singing, you're playing a game. Choose from country, pop, R&B or hip-hop. Set your level of difficulty and let the fun begin. With gamified features, scoring and leaderboards, you can compete with friends or just enjoy the spotlight solo. The best part? You can record and share your bops or keep them just for yourself. Whether you're a shower singer or a stage-ready performer, Bop Karaoke makes every note memorable. Ready to record yours? Head to bopkaraoke.com or search for Bop Karaoke in your app store. Let's make your next karaoke session one to remember. Download Bop Karaoke today.
Beginning of the year, it's always a ton of change. We talked about change management before. We've talked about being able to adapt, but I think it's critical we talk about it and examine it for the unis out there, because we're almost on this cycle. So we talked about the fact that people wait around to create New Year's resolutions, and we've been on this whole eating and drinking fest since Halloween. Yep. So then you want to start the year off and you're like, oh, I'm going to be on a schedule. I'm going to do 75 hard. I'm going to do all of this. And boop, you got a new boss.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Boop, your offensive coordinator is gone.
Yep.
So I want to talk about that. I kind of want to peel the onion on that a little bit today, because we have to get used to change, and that's easy to say. It really is. It's like, I can quote you, and I can quote you to death on things that tell you why change is coming. You know, the only thing that's going to be consistent in life is change. It is. But how do we take change and not look at it as a negative, but more as a positive?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think a lot of people, and I think you kind of hinted at this, a lot of people scale up their growth based and contingent on other things that are out of their control. It's like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to join this gym, and everything around my success is on this gym, or I'm working for this company and I'm going to use all of these internal only processes to become successful. And then something changes, and then they've like, oh, I can't do that anymore. I don't have access to that gym. This system isn't available to me. So you need to make these changes as scalable and generic as possible so that they can fit into all of those areas.
Just work out.
Yeah.
Right. Work out.
Right.
So, we're seeing, look, the fact of the matter is, okay, every 4 years, you may have a new president.
Yeah.
And we definitely are not a political show.
No.
We're not even political people, but we have a new president.
We do.
And my message to people is, you still got to pay the light bill.
Yep.
Right? You got to pay the car insurance. You got to pay the car note. Yep. Maybe your side didn't win, but you still got to move forward. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people that are just like clenching their purses, if you will.
It's ruining their whole year.
I'm like, it's happening.
It's going to happen regardless.
It's going to happen. Like, you still got to pay your mortgage.
Right.
So don't let that get in the way. And it's been like this forever. Obviously, times have changed and things are more polarized. And with the changes in life, 10 years ago, we weren't talking about LGBTQ plus.
Nope.
There were things that we weren't even discussing that now are serious and they're on the table. But people, you get up and go to work.
Right.
Get up and go to work, coach your teams, parent your children. You can't spend the entire beginning of this new year with your head under the covers because things didn't go your way.
You need to worry the most about things you can change. Things that are out of your control. Yeah. Things that are not going to be able to be changed. Don't put so much effort and stress and emotion and grief into those things because those are going to happen with or without you.
Yeah. My analogy is my Lions. R.I.P.
This is
R.I.P. And I mean R.I.P. in a major way.
Right.
Now, why was I so cautious? Because I've spent my life being pulled by the Lions. The Lions remind me of that favorite uncle that never shows up.
But when he does,
it's like, oh, you love him, and you like, he's coming to my party. Your mom's like, I don't know. Then he shows up and he's like, give me a 20. I saw you had a bunch of birthday cards. You got any cash?
Right.
Go get me a beer. Right?
Yeah.
Lions are your favorite uncle that always tend to disappoint you.
That's right.
Now, we've had the best season in my lifetime.
Yeah.
In my lifetime. But me being a Spartan and from Detroit, I was like, tread lightly. Let's stop talking about Super Bowl.
Let's not get our hopes too large.
Chill back. Like, don't put a ring on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And we lost. And to my unis that are in Michigan, same deal. Get out of the bed. Pull the covers from over your head. Yeah, we wanted a Super Bowl. We're not going. Right. And that's how quick things happen.
Yes.
It's just like you're walking in with your strawberry shake and you trip and you drop it. It's gone. It's over. So you have to pick yourself up. There's a whole state of people that are in a state of depression. And when you take a step back over football, now it means a lot. It does, but you have to protect yourself.
Right.
Right. And now let's add to the chaos. Let's add to it. So we were on the best run ever, toughest team ever. And when I look and, I look across the board and look at people, there are tons of people that were silently rooting for Detroit. Like, oh, y'all messed that up. Now you should have. So now guess what happens? Because we were so good, guess what happened to our offensive coordinator? He's now the coach of the Chicago Bears.
Right.
Guess what happened to our defensive coordinator? He's now the coach of the New York Jets. Gone. So in the spirit of what we're talking about, and I'm going to get off my soapbox, right? I'm going to get
the
off
Lions
of it.
lost, bro. Stop. No,
Yeah. The soapbox is look how much change that has created for everyone.
Right.
Success brings change.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a successful sales rep, I wanted it. I was like, hey, you fools better hire me. But that now meant change. It's like, oh, now I want a manager job. Oh, well, we're going to give you the shittiest territory in the country. You're going to St. Louis. Right?
Right.
And I love St. Louis, by the way. But with success comes change. So the Lions were so successful, Alexei, that the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator now have new jobs.
I will take that.
So now the Lions are like, change. So now you're going to have some new cat coming in there. And now look at the Bears and the Jets. They're like, change.
Right.
Who's the special teams coach at the Bears? Is his job up? So my point is this time of the year, there's consistent change. And just like we need to start our, we need to start our resolutions or our change management or our weight loss programs during the fattening season. Right. We have to leave this time open for change.
Exactly. And
I'm off the pulpit.
No, well said. Well said. I mean, right? It's like, you brought it up, that milkshake, right? It's like the little kid with the ice cream cone. I mean, dropping the ice cream cone is such an easy thing to do, but such a horrible outcome when you're young. And so, keep that outburst or that scenario to the younger people and grow from that and be like, you know what? You got to be like Easy-E, throw it in the gutter and go buy another. So,
wow. Circle gets the square on that one, bro.
Yeah. Just, control what you can. It's like, you know what? I could let this ruin my day, my week, my month, but I'm in a position where I can adjust that. I can buy another one. I don't need to let that bother me like I would have as a younger or more emotional person.
Yeah. We're so dug into our ways that we trip about it. You know, I think the first place we seen it was being able to work from home, not having to go back.
Oh, yeah. A classic example of dropping your ice cream.
Dropping your ice cream. And this is me, and I'm not going to apologize, but are you still getting a check?
Right.
Well, go to work.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody told me I had to go into some place, then that's what I would have to do.
Right.
And
is it
for
causing
us,
you bodily harm?
For my unis out there that are in our quote unquote universe, right?
Right.
You may be getting a new regional manager, right?
Yep.
Are you getting a check? There might be a realignment. You might be like, oh, I have Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, and Indiana.
Right.
And now, okay, we moved it. Now you got Illinois and Wisconsin.
Right.
Okay. Is that direct deposit still going in?
Exactly. But like my favorite restaurant was in Illinois.
we really have to get back to basics.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Because I think a lot of people put their feet in their mouths over the fact that they're appalled that there's change.
Yep.
Right? Like I feel like we have workplace Karens, if you will.
That is accurate.
Like, oh, something's different. Someone's new in my neighborhood or something isn't what I thought it was supposed to be. And I'm going to raise hell until you fire me.
Yeah.
What? Why are you standing on that wall?
You're the only one losing.
And my question to everyone is, are you getting paid? And what's being affected? Is it your ego? I get it. Egos matter, and we have it.
Yeah.
But bro, are you getting your check?
Right.
Did they cut your check?
No.
Did you get your bonus? Are you going to get a bonus? Are you going to get, are you going to have a performance review at some point during the year? Is somebody going to say, hey, you hit the numbers and whatever?
Yep.
Like I think we're tripping a little bit.
We are totally tripping.
Mm-hmm. You good, bro?
Yep.
Somebody bringing you a snack up in there?
It might be, but I forgot to close the door, and I got the dogs unleashed on me.
Dogs rushed in there. Let's see them puppies.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, it's you embraced the change when it was in your benefit, right? And you're like, oh, look at all of this. This is so cool. You have to embrace the change when they steal that candy bar out of your grip. It's just like, oh, okay.
When somebody called you and said, we're moving you from Pittsburgh to California. We're paying for everything.
Yeah.
We're going to help your spouse get a new job. We're going to find schools for your kid. That's okay.
Right.
Because this changes in your favor.
Right.
But how do we look at change and make it a new opportunity? Bringing somebody else in new. Whenever I would get a new team,
Right.
I would always say, hey, guess what? Everybody's starting from scratch.
Everybody.
I don't know what you had going on with the last woman or the last dude, but you here right now. I don't care if you were halfway out the door.
Right.
I'm going to see what I can do with you.
Or you were vying for this job and I got it and you didn't.
Hey, guess what? I'm here. So you help me.
Right.
And you keep getting that check and then we can have a good time.
You have to make it a win-win.
So change, I think the thing is people only like change when it's for them or for their benefit, when in actuality, a new fresh set of eyes might come in and look at you like, man, you are like a rose coming up out of the cement.
Exactly. Oh, that's a
in
great
this
one.
joint. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not doing that enough. And I just think now, given people have been through a lot, right?
There's been a lot.
This election whipped people's asses that were actually, you know, me and my wife talk about this all the time. And it's great because being a football guy is nothing better than having a football wife.
That's true.
Right? It's, oh my God, it's just great. I asked I was watching one of those, you ever seen Aerial America? It's a show on the, I think it's Discovery or History. And they just go up and they be like, Colorado, you know, the vast mountains, Cheyenne Mountain. You know, they're just showing you the whole deal. And they went over and they were like, this is where 100,000 people come and it's Mile High Stadium. You know, they're talking about it and they're like, they won back-to-back championships. And I was like, oh, this is old.
Right. Because it hadn't been a minute since they done that.
Yeah, I was like, because they won another championship. And I was like, you know who won that? She was like, oh, yeah, Peyton. And I was like, I love you. You know?
Right.
But
you could not be more attractive than you are right now.
I love you in a world. But I'm like, we'll talk and we'll say, you got a dog in this race? I'm like, nah. Well, who you think? She'll be like, who you got? Who you got? Who you got? Minnesota? Who you got? Alabama? You know, whatever game we're watching. And so if you treat stuff like you don't have a dog in the race, then it doesn't set you up for failure like it does. Like exactly. I had to detach myself from the Lions. I really did. Even though I was happy and I'm like, ooh, I would love it. But I'm like, that fall down is going to be a bitch.
Yeah. I was the same way, right? Growing up as a Broncos fan since 4 years old, right? It was just like, yeah, but, oh, we did good, but, and then, you know, we had some good time. And then I was like, okay, this can only last so long. And so you have to, you know, you got to roll with the change, and whether it's good or bad, you know, you said it. And if you can embrace the suck, if you can embrace the change, it's kind of like, you know, back in the military, when you were a newbie, when you were the new kid, right? Kind of like boot camp, maybe a perpetuation of boot camp. You were going to get all the crap jobs. It's like, hey man, you're low guy on the totem pole. You're going to have to go clean the bathroom and mop the floors. And so rather than, you know, get all butthurt and be like, I'm not doing that. Well, you're guaranteed to always be stuck doing that role now, because that was the military thing. It was like, okay, the squeaky wheel gets the shit jobs, right? I've taught my kids this since they were tiny. Like, somebody gives you a crap job, you be the best at it that there ever was, and you will more than likely be able to move on and be worthy of a less crappy job.
Well said. We had this, I don't know if most universities have it, but Michigan State, go green, go white.
Go white.
We have what we call the physical plant. And so all the buildings need to be cleaned,
Mhm.
like service, waxed, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
So you had an opportunity to get a job there
Oh, okay.
at state. So you could get a job at night working in a building that you would normally go to school at. And to me, it was one of the best career moves or base, what do I want to say, foundations for good work, because it was exactly that. Go clean out all the toilets,
Right.
go mop the floors, buff them, wipe down lockers, whatever was important in that building. But essentially, you were a custodian at night, and there were students doing it.
Yeah.
So I've run a buffer, I've plunged toilet, all of those things. And you were like, this is great. And then by the time I get off work, people are still partying.
Mm-hmm.
I can go there. I just made money. And it's not like I got to get up early. So you made me think about that. And sometimes people only want the glamorous gigs, but sometimes those gigs where you got to roll up your sleeves and kind of get into the poop, if you will, they make or break us. And I think that's why I am the way I am now. It's like you got to stay in the middle.
Yes.
You do. And and I mean, I don't just mean that in the political form, but yes, you got to stay in the middle. Because when your side doesn't win, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I agree.
And you got a lot of people now that are just like, oh, I'm taking my ball and I'm running. And I'm like, that's what we still have to work. There still has to be stuff. There's community service things that has to happen. There's this, so we can't just trip because that happens. And the reason I'm using that, the political piece, is because these people also have jobs.
Exactly.
And so now, let's just say your side didn't win and you got a job. And then now all of a sudden they're like, oh, now you got Illinois and Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Don't blow up at the gig.
No,
that's not a place to blow up.
No.
Get your check and do your job. Your job and get your check, because we talk about it, but honestly, at the end of 2024, I didn't see the layoffs like we've seen previously in years. Like I didn't. I'm not saying people didn't get laid off, but I didn't see it.
Correct.
And usually when I see it, it's because it's 6 degrees of separation.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's hit me up. Somebody's been like, yo, you got anything anywhere, or anybody that can you get it via word of mouth. You see it on LinkedIn. People are like, I'm looking, so
I also think there's a karmic aspect of it too, right?
Talk to me about the karmic aspect.
So, I mean, one of the stories that kind of helps come up is you kind of reminded me back when I was in boot camp. I went to boot camp over Christmas. I was in boot camp from November to February, and we had, it wasn't just a boot camp base. It was a Navy base. Like half of it was just for boot camp, and then the other half was for other stuff. Mm-hmm. And so all of our mail came through the main base. And so I remember one of the, jobs that we had over Christmas, I got lucky. And in the beginning, I thought I was getting screwed because it was like, hey, you're going to go over here and you're going to be responsible for organizing and planning where all of these packages, because everybody would get these care packages. But because we were in boot camp over Christmas, it got turned up to 22. Right. It was like, oh, I'm sending my baby the snacks that he wants. And because they're in boot camp and, oh, she likes this. And so there was a ton of It was overwhelming. And even the people said, wow, we don't usually get this much stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I could have easily, been like all butthurt. I'm like, I'm sitting here stuck in this place over Christmas, and my friends and family at home, they're out living it up and doing whatever. And so I was like, no, I just like, okay, I got to get this done. So I just did the best damn job I could at it. I organized everything. I started making down grids. I mapped out the base and said, okay, these packages are going to this battalion. These are going to there. And the manager, or, commanders or leaders, officers that were there, they didn't have anything to do with the boot camp. But all of a sudden they were like, oh, hey, you did a really good job on this.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go take off for the rest of the day, go to McDonald's? I
nice.
wasn't supposed to be going to McDonald's. That wasn't allowed. But it was like, hard work will be rewarded. So, and
Every time.
Every time. And so
No
you
matter
just
what,
have to
man.
know that you're due. But that also has to come with your attitude. They're linked. If you do something begrudgingly, but you do it well, it's not, you're defeating the purpose. It's like, fine, I'll go and I'll do this,
No,
but I'm
people
going to be
see that
bitter
attitude.
about it.
Yeah, no, that's not helping.
You're closing that door to reciprocation, whether that's energy or whether that's
Well said,
reward.
man.
You have to be open to the good, but you have to be good to get good.
I'm gonna repeat that. You closing the door to reciprocation.
Exactly.
You're almost choking yourself because you're being spiteful. You're being a workplace Karen, if you will.
Nobody's
You
going to
know.
look out for workplace Karen.
Yeah. And no disrespect, one of my favorite aunts. Her name is Karen.
Karen.
But I think one of the biggest issues is that the unknown makes people anxious.
Oh, a lot of people.
And
I'd
the
say
unknown, I tend to
predominantly,
jump. Yeah, I tend to, knowing that that's the case, and statistically, that's where people go. I run for it.
Right.
I run for the unknown. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. What's up?
Yep.
Welcome. How can I help you? You the new guy? All right. What's up? Where you want to go? That's what I do. So that's a piece of advice for the uni.
Yep.
Don't run from the unknown.
Run
to it. Run to it. You just got a new boss, or you got a new coach, right? Or you got anything. You know, you got a new board on your HOA. Run to it. Don't run from it.
Whitney Houston sang it well. I want to run to you.
Bro, you 2 for 2 today. And so when you have something new, there's this topic, it's called uncertainty tolerance, right? And it's because many people struggle with uncertainty and prefer to stick with what they know, even if it's not ideal. You have to run to it. You have to say, it's really not uncertainty. I now have an opportunity to create a new narrative for myself. True. Even if you had a great person. Even if you had a great person, and what happens to great leaders that we know about?
They're rewarded. They get promoted.
They're rewarded, but then what's the negative part about being a great leader?
You're gonna have to teach.
They're gonna leave.
They're gonna leave. You're gonna get new people, new teams, and you have to start over again.
Yeah, they're gonna leave. That's the same thing. Oh man, you was a hell of a defensive coordinator. Now I'm a head coach.
Right. They got rewarded.
But if you've done a good job, and that could turn out something for you. It could be, oh, I need this. You want to come over here? Or when it's all over, do you want to come in? Do you want to come and be my defensive backs coach?
I knew a really awesome guy back in the day. He left and got rewarded and got a bigger position. And I was bummed because he left me alone. But then he brought me back. He brought me with him.
Good people, you will throw the rope over the fence for good people.
That's right. I'm coming back.
You always will. And so
Guantanamo. How do you say it? What's it?
Ziwantaneo.
Ziwantaneo.
My good friend. And
my good friend. Andy Dufresne.
Crawled through. Loss of control. That's what people are. You can't control. You said it. You can't control what's happening above you. Yep. So if you can't control that, then you can only control what you're doing. You can only control making sure that the specifications that you put out are accurate.
That's right.
You can only control that you are hitting all your target accounts.
Yep.
You can only control that you're having one-on-ones with your people. You can only control that you're communicating effectively with your partner.
Yep.
Those are the things that you control. Now, if somebody way up top decides to be like, we're going to split that down the middle.
Right.
Or we're going to bring in a counterpart, or we're going to do, that's not in my control. Am I still getting a check?
Yep.
Yes. Move right along, people.
Well, and a lot of times, too, you're being watched to see how are you going to react to this, too. It's like, I mean, a bunch of the times, whoever's directly above you, a lot of times, shit rolls downhill. That doesn't mean that, your boss wanted to do that. And so they're going to probably sit there and go, okay, I'm going to have to ask Alexei and Chris to take care of this. And they're going to watch and they're going to be like, how are they going to handle this? Because this is going to, maybe I've got something bigger.
Because it got delivered to them like that.
Right.
You never know. And that's why I like to over communicate.
100%.
I'll tell you like, hey man, I'll start it off like we got checks.
Yep. We're in this together. This all sucks.
So, let's start with the good part here.
Yeah.
Everybody has a check. And that's what I think everybody needs to level set themselves to, because it's not going to be your way. We still got people holding out about going back into work.
Yep.
There's massive changes that are occurring for massive people. And so you have to look at the level of your change versus the level of others. The biggest change ever could be like, hey, you out of here, man.
Right.
Hey, man, here go a package for you, man. You gone, man. You get 6 months severance. Right? Some people are like, thank you. Some people are like, oh my God, they're panicking and they're looking for a job immediately.
Right.
So the lowest common denominator is that you still have a job.
Yep.
And I'm going to keep reminding people of that. You have a job. You have responsibilities. Get out of bed. Stop whining and complaining that your team lost and go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your light bill, everybody's paying a heat bill. Man, my wife turned on the heat, bro. It was like, she was like, turn on the heat. I'm like, what am I? What am I, the heat police? Yeah, kind of. But I was like, of course.
Yeah.
Turn it on. You don't have to ask me.
Well, it's like this thing, right? And it's also about, and we've talked about this, but I think there's a better term for it, but vision persistence. If you're riding a bike down a trail and there's a turn coming up, and maybe there's a tree on the outside of that turn, you need to focus on the trail, not the tree. Because if all you're doing is staring at that tree,
you're going to hit it.
Whether you want to or not, you're going to ride your bike right into that damn tree.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look through the tree, past the tree, and towards the future. You have to look where you want to go. If you're looking where you don't want to go, you don't even know where you're supposed to go, because all you can look at is what's wrong.
Yes. We're so wrong-minded right now. And really this episode is for our folks that are listening that may be on that.
Right.
What's most important to you? What's most important to you is what's closest to you.
Yes.
What's in your house, your family, your pets, what's for dinner? What are we watching?
Yep.
And the things that you do out in the streets is what helps you to create that lifestyle.
Truth.
There's people who go out and pick up your trash every day to do that.
Yeah. Probably not complaining about it either.
Their job ain't going nowhere, player.
Because they're getting paid.
They getting paid and they figuring it out. Somebody's got to deliver something to your house. You order that Peloton, a dude's got to pull up and yank that boy out.
That's right.
And put it together.
Mm-hmm.
So the big point is we've been in a comfort zone especially people in our industries, we're comforted. You know, you've had it your way a long time. It's nice and smooth. And sometimes, listen, you're gonna get a nice smooth run.
Yeah.
And you got to take the good with the bad. Oh, we had a smooth run. Now we got a stickler.
Enjoy it while it was there.
Enjoy it while it was there. So you got to get out of that comfort zone. And once you get out of the comfort zone, you're actually going to sharpen that sword. You know, why do you think there's so much complaint right now?
I think it has to do with the change. I think it's like people, I mean, man, COVID really messed up a lot of people mentally. And it was
people really don't understand that. That's the genesis of In a World, is that we took a step back and looked at how bonkers it made everybody.
Right.
And go ahead, dog. I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, it's so that was like, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. But it was a federal thing, right? It was like, it wasn't like we'd love it if you would do this. We'd love it if, it was like, oh, no, that,
right.
I'm in mandatory. I can't even go to the grocery store. Oh, and we kind of were like, oh, and we all kind of toed the line. We all toed the line. We all came sheep.
Except us in Florida.
Excepting, yeah.
Florida was like,
yeah.
Florida had no rules, man.
Yeah. And the lions out there, they're like, I'm done being a sheep. And so they made sure, and I think that, I'm trying to say this without pissing a bunch of people off, but a lot of people spun into a bunch of people who they are now, right? And that's where we started seeing the Karens, like, you can't do that. You have to be doing this. And you've got
your mask on. Mm-hmm. You can't buy paint.
Right.
During this.
There is no toilet paper in the store.
And being in Florida, man, it really helped me to see, because I'm not from Florida.
Right.
I'm from Michigan.
Right.
So I'm acutely aware of what's going on in Michigan at the time.
You have a whole different vision on it, yeah.
But I'm living here.
Right.
And at the time I'm living here, and this is the truth, whether people like it or not. My sister works in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So during COVID, we were like everybody else. We didn't know what the hell was going on. Right. I mean, we were wiping down groceries in Amazon boxes at first. We didn't know what the hell to do. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that if my sister couldn't work, then she would end up having to come and live with me.
Yes.
And then if she had to go out in the world and continue to come back like that, it would cause turbulence in my household.
Correct.
Because my wife would be like, hey, like, spray yourself down in the mud room. Decontaminate. So from my perspective, which a lot of people won't agree with, when she could work, I was happy.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, well, she can earn, because that's what she earns. But on the flip side, I'm happy for her. And she was like, well, I didn't want to go to work because I didn't want to get COVID. So I'm like, right. Whoa, that's a triple entendre right there.
Correct.
Right. But I learned from that, like, it's kind of about what people want to do for their best interest.
Correct.
And it's like each individual is different. Sometimes I get in an Uber and I'll be like, put on your seatbelt.
Sometimes you always do that to me.
To you, you don't be wanting to put on your. I'll be like, boy, put on your seatbelt. You'd be like, it's just around the corner.
That's when you're gonna get hurt.
I'm like, that's where you're gonna get massacred at.
I agree.
But yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, here's the thing: the lesson in all of that is, and we, all of these things glue together, right? That vision, persistence. I looked towards the good because I'm really good at that. I'm always going to, and I've been accused of, oh, you're toxically positive. It's like, no, I'm going to always find.
I'm toxically positive.
Right. I'm going to always look for the positive, and I'm going to go, okay, because I want to, I want to ride on that level. I don't want to I don't want to wait around in the poo. And so, like
we're waiting around in the poo as a nation right now, and as multiple industries.
Yeah.
We're in the poo because there's an onslaught of change that, and I'm sorry, I'm hijacking. There's an onslaught of change that we should know that's occurring.
Right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. So the thing is like COVID for you and I, yes, we lost friends and we lost family and there was bad things, but professionally, it was one of the best advancements I've had in my career.
See, we woke up though. And so that's why we're talking the way we are now. That's why we have a podcast.
Exactly.
Because we woke up during it.
Yeah. And like even little things, it was like, hey, I can order a margarita from the Mexican place to be delivered. That's great. So like, look at the positives. It's like there's an amazing quote that always stays with me. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. And so
you had it.
So, it's Dr. Seuss. It's like, you don't need to, your whole world isn't over when that period of amazing ends, whether it's a loved one or whether it's like you had a skate job where you were living large, or you had a nice office and now you're back in a cube. That's not the end of the world. Mm-mm. Put a bookmark on that and label it as positive and go, you know what? That was a good time. And make moves to get to something similar or to like it to where you get that same feeling, because it will come again. But if you're sitting there depressed, angry, and mad because you lost it, you're not going to get it again, because that's all you're looking at.
No. And everything that is going to be spectacular to you is not going to be the easy street. There are people who climb Mount Everest past dead bodies and trash. Literally. To have the most surreal experience in their life. And so to me, that's a real analogy.
Very real.
In terms of what we have to go through. We're going to have to walk past some dead people and some trash to get to what we want. And because it was, glory road for a while, eventually, the rocky road, you're able to figure it out. You find the right boots, you find walking sticks, you find the right things to do it. But I just kind of want to descend on, how we handle it, because I think we're getting into the mode of complaint. Yeah. And a lot of people, you come back to work the new year, and then I call it the language of complaint, because you meet some people and all they do is complain.
True.
That's it. It's just like, all you doing is complaining?
Right. Without solutions.
What? None. And it's this deal, right? And I've coined it two ways: juicy chatter and then toxic chatter.
Yes.
Juicy chatter is benign. It's like, oh, did you know Rick got a Corvette?
No way. Really?
Did you see somebody got a ring on their finger now? That's juicy chatter.
That's juicy. Nobody's getting hurt by anything you're saying.
Nobody's getting hurt, right? And
Nobody.
and juicy chatter is a word for gossip. That's juicy gossip.
Yeah.
You want to stay away from toxic chatter, which is like bringing people down, going to something. Like, to me, toxic chatter is me coming to you to talk about a person that I know that you've got a problem with. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, hey, you know what this cat did? That's toxic chatter. Because one, I'm delivering that to you, but what I'm also doing is pulling you back into a dark place.
No, you're dragging me down with you, and I don't want to be there.
You don't want to be there. You passed this person.
Yeah.
Like, you know what such and such said? You're going to be like, oh, go ahead, lay it on me. I've seen everything. Right. So we have to be careful, because when we feel like we're out of control, we're looking for validation. Mm-hmm. Right? And you can look for validation and just say, I feel out of control.
And you're probably right.
Like I'm scared. Like just tell people that, but you don't have to throw people under the bus or engage in toxic chatter.
Yeah. No, I mean, just having a layer of open, clear communication. You know, it's like, hey, boss, thanks for giving me this new role. You know, I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to figure it out, but these are the things I want to work on. These are the things I want to do. I'm excited for the opportunity. Glad that I'm still here. Can you help me on these things? Because I want to do this right. I mean,
that's it.
It's all about, and it's not about spinning, right? It's not about spinning the narrative. It's about looking for the positives because they're there. You just have to find them, right? It's like, okay.
Yeah, you have to find them, and you have to, you got to look for them first.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when the change happens, we're like, oh, there's nothing good about this. It's nothing, you know. It just reminds me as a kid, my dad, you know, he got a new girlfriend and I was so angry, you know, and it was just like, I was so dumb as a kid.
Sure.
Because I was like, this disgusts me.
Right.
You know, like, what is this? Where am I?
Yeah.
And the woman was this, the woman
nice
didn't
lady.
do anything to me.
Mm-mm.
You know, she made this nice breakfast. She was like, oh, I'm meeting your son. And I'm like, ugh. So it's a little bit of, you know, we're acting like children a little bit.
So much.
And so I think as adults, you know, the piece that I would like to say is sometimes that toxic chatter is for ego reinforcement. You know, our ego's been hurt. Our ego's been jabbed. And, you know, we want to make ourselves feel justified or important.
Sure.
Because things have been changed. I used to have 4 states. Now I have 2. Be glad that you got 2, player.
Exactly. I mean, we talk all the time about sharpening the sword. You also have to work on your armor too, right? It doesn't mean you need to be some bulletproof emotionalist bastard, but you need to be able.
Bulletproof emotionalist bastard. That's a movie.
We're making it.
Bulletproof emotionalist bastard. Part 2.
Now in theaters.
On ice.
You need to learn. You need to see that toxicity coming your way and be able to deflect it. And so, you know, having a sharp sword is great offense, but you need to have some good defense too.
You do. How about a little pop goes the weasel?
Let's do it.
Pop goes the weasel.
The weasel goes pop.
Well, here's my pop goes the weasel. I've been watching The Old Man. Okay. And it is amazing. Have you watched The Old Man?
No, tell me more.
Okay. So The Old Man, it came out in 22 and it's got Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow in it.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Okay. Bro, you not on this?
No.
Uni, y'all got to get out there and get on The Old Man.
The Old Man.
I think it's on FX and Hulu, maybe.
Okay.
But no, it's FX. Did I say that?
Yeah,
FX?
you did.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
I was like, I just got to be careful not to be spoiler. Everybody, Alexei is super sensitive about spoiling. If I say anything, he'd be like, don't spoil it. I'm like, you're never going to watch this.
The walls are thawing out on that. But that's just because there hasn't been anything good out in a while.
Yeah. Okay. But the premise is, and I'll just start it out. There's this old guy, Jeff Bridges, just kind of walking through. You don't know what's going on with him. He's an old man. And he's walking through his town and he's just noticing some interesting people watching him because he knows how to watch people. And then eventually someone shows up in his house. And that is the beginning of it. And it takes a trek that you wouldn't believe.
I bet.
So my pop culture and Pop Goes the Weasel is the old man.
I love it. I'm going to watch that tonight.
And he reminds me of my old man, which is crazy.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he kind of does. Kind of rough around the edges. Will shock you a little bit. Do more than what you expect him to do. And just as smart as a whip.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting.
Has his own issues, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
So that's funny because mine is a show based on a book, and the show is called Slow Horses. So I think it's on Apple TV.
Okay.
You would dig it. It's all about MI5 and
that's right up my alley, bro.
Yeah. And Gary Oldman has
love him.
massive range, right? I mean, he's been like a space hitman, and he was Dracula in Bram Stoker. I mean, amazing movie.
Yeah, he's great.
And now he's this old has-been agent, you know, probably smoking 2 packs a day and goes to sleep with a bottle of Ripple
Bourbon
or some cheap.
You said Ripple?
Ripple, yeah.
Did you watch Sanford and Son as a kid?
Of course I watched Sanford and
I'm like,
Son.
how would you know about Ripple?
I know about all that stuff, bro. I know more than you know. And
no, bro, that's why we together. It's
exactly
it's crazy.
True. Exactly.
Hey, I have to tell people the first time Alexei met my daughter, he we had a karaoke machine and he played In Vogue. And he was like, you know who this is? She was like, He was like, your parents ain't raising you right. And then that's when I knew. I was like, I mess with this dude.
I remember the look on your face too. You're like,
he was like, your parents ain't raising you right. You don't know who this is? We are not.
He's like, damn. That guy is right.
She's listening to Paramore and all of that.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Who's this?
Yeah.
Anyway, tell me more about this show.
But like, it's that same thing. It's like, it's this dude who's in this, you know, kind of, he's got the shitbag unit of misfit toys. And, you know, it was just supposed to be a place where he could go and nobody bothers me. Nobody's going to do anything. I'm going to live out my career, collect my pension, do whatever. I'm going to ride off into the sunset of this cheap booze bottle.
Mm-hmm.
But then things go sideways and you know, and he's not maybe he hasn't lost the step everybody thought he did.
Mm.
And it's quite good. I kind of, I don't want to say resist. I kept forgetting about it. Many people have said, oh yeah, Slow Horses is so cool.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Apple TV is
yeah.
pretty dark. I'm going to have to jump back in it, but most of their shows are dark.
Dark.
I like that.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's good. But it's like we're talking about that same character almost.
Yeah, and it almost connects to our conversation. Like you don't get to be the old man or the old woman in the room with all the skill sets if you run and take your ball every time shit don't go your way.
No.
You know, that's my message to my folks listening that are riding in whips. It's cold everywhere. Somebody's riding to a call, a case.
That's a call.
That's a call. You know, you're riding to a case. You're riding to the office.
Yep.
Stand firm and just put your head down and work through the change. Exactly. And even though there's somebody new, or there's somebody different, your work ethic, it'll show.
It will.
Because it's like driving across country. You'll show up in places and you'll be like, this service was horrible. And then you'll show up at a gas station and eat a pork chop sandwich and you'll be like, I have to bookmark this place and tell people if they're ever coming through here, you must stop here. This was insanely good. The food was great. The people checked on you. It was, you know what I mean? So there's always going to be someone that sees you for the first time and sees the value that you bring, if you're bringing it.
Right.
But
and
if
you never would have discovered that gas station sandwich if you hadn't been open to it existing.
Yeah. But if you want to take your ball and run or lay in bed and put your covers over your head for 4 years, How are you? How are you gonna make it?
You're not.
You're not. Don't do that to yourself. Go out and grind for your family.
Yeah.
And
Not only
for
are
your
you not going to
money.
grow, you're probably going to regress.
You're gonna regress, and you're
Yep.
gonna be a Karen.
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Yep.
So that's a tough message, but we wanna deliver it to you because we believe that the unis that we've got out here listening are like really cool and dynamic people. And sometimes,
you're gonna explain what you mean by that word?
yeah, unis, you part of that. This is in a world. So
world.
you're the universe. So universe is short. I mean, unis is short for universe.
All of you
So if
listening are our unis.
You are unis. You are you're the universe.
That's right.
This is in a world. So this galaxy, roams far, far away. And
That's
so
right.
you could be in another country, you could be in another time zone. It doesn't matter. But we're speaking to you live and direct
That's
from a
right.
place of common sense, trying to spread common sense.
Cutting through like a laser beam.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, you got any this or that for us today?
I might have one.
You might have one or two.
Would you rather? We can do two. Would you rather live in a world?
One is fine.
Would you rather live in a world where there is no crime or no privacy?
No crime or no privacy?
Yeah.
I'll go with no crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those Karens that would be like, I don't care. See? And this fits in perfectly because
Mhm.
it's like these Karen type people, right? They don't want the change, but they don't want to miss out on the benefit that would come if they were willing to change. They want the cake and they want to eat it.
You can't do that.
Mm-mm.
And it's not the same. It's not for anybody.
Mm-mm.
There's some pieces of things that you used to have that you're not going to have anymore.
Right.
And I don't know. People get triggered by this word, but different people's privileges have changed. I used to be diamond. I'm not anymore. And it's a shocker.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
It hurts, bro. I am not
right
diamond.
there with you.
They don't pick up the phone. I was like, what do you mean I got to wait 5 minutes for you to pick up Delta?
You are 32nd in line.
I'm hurting about that. They're like, hello.
Mhm.
How can I help you?
No more
I'm
Mr.
like,
Stanford?
No more, Mr. Stanford. How may I help you? I'm like, I'm back to Normieville for 2025.
I'm back in Gen Pop.
I'm Gen Pop. I'm gonna be getting a USA Today and some Sbarro. standing with a a long coat with a belt on.
Here's the thing. And the other flip side of that is, right, is it's like, why are so people, this will be a debatable topic, but privacy. Why are you hanging on to it so badly? My dad, he's actually grown quite a bit in the last 5 years. I will actually say that. Like 5 years ago, this man, and a lot of it I agree with, right? No Facebook, no Instagram, no, and he's a very, very digitally savvy guy, right? He actually was a computer professor taught, networking and knows his way around a lot of stuff.
Can we get Dad on the show one day?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, we're getting Dadu on the show. Pops, you're gonna be invited. He's listening, and he would be the first person to be like, oh, I'm not turning on my location services, or I don't want to put that in the cloud. And I started like kind of chipping away at him because I've known him my whole life. And I'm like, so Dad, what makes you think that you are so important that somebody would have life-changing events if they got a hold of that data or that, and he was just kind of like, well, and I was kind of like, okay.
If Dad not messing with the cartel, then he's chill.
Right. It's like, that's the whole thing. It's just like, and that's about this change too. It's just like, people get all butthurt because, oh, Siri or Alexa are listening in. And you know, maybe there is maybe you do have some, you know,
privacy
state secrets. Maybe you are in that role. As somebody who has held a top secret clearance in their life, I get it. But for the most part, it's like, I'm not that cool. I'm not, you know, so just let me have the benefits of this technology without all of the, you know, freak out foil hat mania that comes from worrying about it.
They did a skit on that on SNL, and it was funny on the news. The dude was like, they're in your business. He was like, oh, so you know I like thick Latinas. What?
You're right.
So it's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I like. And that's a good point, because a lot of people are a little bit on edge.
Yep.
But again, if you're doing the right thing, what do you got to worry about? You help me with that. I'm like, I'm not putting my face in that. But then I got clear. Got my pupils. Yeah. So you're the one that helped me to recognize that, because I'm like, I'm not doing face recognition on this phone. I don't want them having that. But I go to clear and they're like, but
you're like, okay. I'm like,
but
wait,
your pupils up there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man.
Well, hey, man, great conversation.
They always are.
As always, I appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Peace.
Peace.